Hey everybody, Alex Kazora, SteelersDepot.com, back with some more Pittsburgh Steelers tape breakdown and analysis. Day one of the 2024 NFL Draft is in the books. The Pittsburgh Steelers took Washington offensive tackle Troy Fautanu with the 20th overall selection, a good value pick. Want to do some film room and tape study on Fautanu, not a complete breakdown on him. We'll kind of piece this thing together. Got a bunch of other film rooms coming up on the site, SteelersDepot.com. But really what impressed me the most going back through his tape last night was his pass protection. And not just in a catch-all sense, do you do the job, but how varied he was in his pass sets and techniques that makes him a day one starter. I want to categorize Fautanu's pass sets in four ways. I'll list them here, the things we'll talk about. Using the bait or dead hand, using the chase down technique, the snatch and trap, and then more of a general just finding work when he's uncovered, nobody immediately blocking him. So I will start with the bait hand, the dead hand, and what it is, and actually give me 1 second, I'll pull up the clip and we'll go through it. Okay, so what it is, and we'll just start running through the clips here, is faking the punch initially. And what you do as an offensive lineman is you throw, basically a fake punch. And what that does is it forces the defender to think you're shooting your hands. And so he's going to shoot his hands and declare what pass rush move he plans on using. And then you can work off of that. So there's Fautanu, the left tackle, number 55, working against the right D end, number 8. This is against Michigan in the national title game. And you see Fautanu right there, fake with that left outside hand on the punch, and that gets number 8 to declare his move, and Fautanu just rides him upfield. And so I'll run it the whole way through. You guys can see it, but it's flashing that punch, faking that hand to get the defender to commit, and then just punch and seal, work him up the arc, and it's a win for Fautanu. Later on, you see it in the Michigan game. This is probably a better and clearer example of it. Again, the left tackle, you're going to see him flash that left hand, get the defender to shoot his hands, and then actually at that point, Fautanu is able to punch, engage, make good, significant contact, and win this rep relatively easily overall. So we'll kind of slow things down and kind of go through frame by frame here, this dead hand, this bait hand, whatever you want to call it, right there, jabbing with that left hand, making the defender think you're throwing your hands, that you're working independent hands and about to throw your punch, and that forces the defender to go into his move. And Fautanu, good length, good space, stay square to the block. A nice job as the defender tries to rush inside, not get pushed up the arc. Fautanu is able to square his hips up and win this block. Different rusher this time, number 17, but same concept overall. And again, flashing that bait hand, that dead hand. A little more issue here getting his hands inside for Fautanu. I will say offensive line coach for Pittsburgh, Pat Meyer, doesn't always love this technique. I know he's commented on it in the past because sometimes it causes your punch to be mistimed and misjudged as you fake that punch and then have to kind of recoil and punch again. And you see the hands a bit outside here, but overall he has the strength to anchor down. It's not the best example in terms of the overall outcome, but just to show there's that flash of that left hand right there that forces into looks like maybe the swim or cross chop there from 17. Again, want to see him rework his hands a little more inside, but that's the technique. I'm sure you guys get the concept by now, but I'll show one more clip from a different game. This is versus Oregon. I like to show the technique being used in more than one game to show as part of his, just regular arsenal of moves as opposed to a one-game thing for a game plan advantage or just a one-off type of thing. I like to show, trends over time. So, again, left tackle, 55, get a good view of it here. And again, flashing that left-hand punch, get the defender to shoot his arms, and a really nice job here from Fautanu being able to punch, get his hands inside, good burst significant contact. That's the big phrase under Pat Meyer. That's what he's looking for to stall out this bull rush, and it's a win for him. So he's an older guy, 23, 24 years old. Pittsburgh typically drafts younger players in the first round, but the benefit of drafting somebody older is they have these tricks of the trade and more technique to their game than somebody that might be 21 years old. So again, right here, flash it, defender shoots, free punch, hands inside, a little hop step back just to help stall this one out and anchor, and it's a good win for Fautanu. Now we'll show the chase down technique, and what this is, as coined by Pat Meyer. Verbiage may vary from coach to coach, but they're really aggressive sets against widely aligned pass rushers. So going back to the Michigan game, here's Fautanu, 55, against this wide defensive end. He's not really lined up just outside shoulder. He's, a couple yards here wide. And I'll show the clip. It's better than me trying to explain it, but you're going to see this really aggressive forward set from Fautanu. And you don't see that a lot, and it's used only in these kind of wide situations to close that gap and close that space between defender and blocker, so he can't really have this full running start of getting up to speed and ready to use his move, being able to convert speed to power, whatever move he wants to use. You're kind of really reducing that space and surprising him sometimes too by this more aggressive set as opposed to taking a vertical set or your 45-degree kick slide and kind of letting the rusher come to you. And so this technique has not been used a ton in Pittsburgh from what I've seen, but it has been used before. But I really see Fautanu use this actually quite a bit, and it has been overall effective. There's a risk to it. If you use it, you better be right because you're so aggressive. If you miss, pass rusher at the end has a free path to the quarterback. But I thought it was a weapon that he used pretty consistently and pretty reliably. Good example here of the technique. The execution is a little bit not ideal, but I believe this is a 3rd and 3. And so using this, chase down set where you just have to really make contact, you see 3rd and 3 here. And if you can win early and at least disrupt the pass of the end enough, that ball should be out because it's 3rd and short. So again, left tackle, widely aligned, right defensive end, number 17 here, outside the tight end because the tight end is standing up in the slot. And so using that chase down technique as opposed to letting the rusher come to him, he's going to be super aggressive, maybe a little bit of lean here on the punch, and 17 is able to kind of win the edge. But again, understanding the situation, it's 3rd and 3, got a widely aligned end. He's got a lot of space, a lot of grass to get to cover, to reach our quarterback, Michael Penix Jr. If I can just disrupt him a bit, that'll give time for Penix to hit the crosser and convert, it appears. So again, comparing the sets here, again, you see the right side, this is Roger Rosengarten, the right tackle, probably gets called on day 2 of the draft. A more closed down defensive end. You see more traditional set here from Rosengarten, which is fine. Actually, nice technique here to kind of spin the spinner and spin around and be able to make that block. But that's a separate thing that also that Fautanu is able to do. But to the point, again, widely aligned defensive end, use that chase down block, cut down that space, be aggressive. He has the athleticism Fautanu does to make these kinds of blocks. This set a little less pronounced than the others. The D end is not quite as widely aligned, but same idea, being aggressive in that set, coming forward. And if you guys need to know one thing about O-line coach Pat Meyer in Pittsburgh, is that he teaches really aggressive pass sets. He wants guards to set flat or set forward, even depending on if it's an off-body set or on-body set. If the tackle's covering you up or not, it's going to determine your set, but you really never give ground. You're either going to set flat or set forward if you're an interior offensive lineman. And for tackles, your sets can vary based on different variables, of course, but you have freedom here against these widely aligned defensive ends to use that chase down set to mix up your sets and not have the DN know, okay, he's going to set 45 each time or he's going to set vertically each time, and this is how I'm going to adjust and game plan against them. So usually it's whenever there's no 3-tech. If there's a 3-tech here, you probably won't use a chase down in case they're running a game or a stunt and he's going to loop around with a 1-tech inside. Less of a chance of that here. So allows Fautanu to make that a more aggressive set here, get into the pad level of the defensive end and win this block. One more look at it. We'll pick a new game against Arizona in 2023. Right end kind of hiding between the pole and the linebacker there. But again, seeing a more aggressive set here on this right defensive end and being able to win this block. And so just another trick of the trade there for Fautanu. Nice hand fighting, using that length. Again, he's shorter, but he's long. You see the length here, 34.5-inch arms. I care about length more than I care about height for offensive tackles. And you see him do a really nice job to easily win this rep. Now let's talk snatch and trap. And you can call it that. You can call it a chop. It's basically just knocking down the hands violently of the pass rusher, usually at the joints, either the wrist or at the elbow. Many linemen use this, but the one that always stands out the most to me was Alejandro Villanueva. He was just so good at it because he was so big and so long, and that chop was just knocked 300-pound defensive linemen to the ground like it was nothing. We're going to see it here from Fautanu here in a 3-point stance against the defensive end who's going to loop over on this game between the tackle and the end. It's a little hard to see. Wish we had the air view behind, but you're going to see the D tackle go to the ground, and that's because Fautanu's using that chop. You see that maybe that white glove flash for a second there as he's going to knock down the hands, and that's just that violent jolt there to the defensive lineman. He goes to the ground. Penix has a clean pocket. It's a touchdown for the Huskies. I'll run it through full one more time, and then we'll kind of slow things down as well. But you can see it, and certainly in the outcome of the D tackle going to the ground, that didn't happen on accident. He didn't lose his footing. He didn't slip. That's Fautanu taking that left hand, knocking down the arm of the defensive tackle, which knocks him off balance and going to the ground right there. And that rep is over. Looking at this Arizona game, you're going to see the snatch and trap more easily. It's a two-hand chop here. Again, Fautanu, the left tackle on the DN, and that two-hand chop to knock down the hands of that Wildcats rusher, sending him to the ground. The size, the strength, the length, and the overall violence in which Fautanu plays with on display will slow it down right here as they go to re-engage. You see Fautanu bring those hands up. He's going to chop down. And a nice job here making contact on the fly. Sometimes it happens, the snatch and trap, when you're kind of engaged, when he's bull rushing you, trying to long arm you, to chop down that long arm. Probably harder to do on a moving target like this, but really impressive here from Fautanu. Right there, going to chop down, and that DN goes to the ground, and that rep again is over. Last example, a bit more subtle. Sometimes you don't always have to send the DN sprawling into the ground. If you can knock him off balance even just a little bit, when the ball comes out in 2.5 seconds, if that DN is off on his rush a little bit, you're going to win the rep almost every single time. So again, versus Arizona, got the 3-tech inside here working on him, and just it's very subtle, but you saw him just knock that D tackle off balance a little bit. Now it's a bigger guy. He might not go to the ground, but the rep's over. He's going to stumble like that. The ball's going to come out. He's not going to get to the quarterback. There's just no chance of that. So to kind of look at it right here, they're engaged. A little bit of a stab here from the D tackle. And then right there, knock that arm down. You see the left hand come down. The D tackle gets over his toes a bit, stumbles, able to recover. But again, at this point, Fautanu's in his chest. The ball's coming out. I mean, there's just no chance the D tackle is going to make any sort of hay on this rep. So I'll play it through one more time. Again, a variety of things. Pass pro, it's not about doing the same thing every single time. D tackles and DNs will pick up on that, especially at the NFL level. They're going to adjust and counter. It's a big chess game, and I think Fautanu has a bunch of tricks up his sleeve to win reps. Finally, less of a technique in the way we talk about the snatch and trap and bait hands, but just the idea of when you're uncovered, go find work. And the concept of pass pro is not passive. So in this case, the DN's dropping out into coverage, trying to play something hot maybe, and so there is no immediate threat for Fautanu. Instead, he's going to go look for work, help out here on number 50, and send him to the ground with that hard right shoulder. And again, just being aggressive, knocking guys off their feet, ear holing them. You're going to win when that guy's not expecting it, when you're as big and as strong and as physical as Fautanu is. And so pretty self-explanatory, I know, but love the idea. Uncovered, go find work, go make a play. Two more clips, again, similar to the last clip versus Oregon. We're back in the Arizona tape. The end's going to drop off. Go help out here on the 3-tech and send him to the ground. Go help your left guard and knock that guy off balance. It knocked Fautanu off his feet too, but we'll take it. If you got to go down to the ground, as long as the D lineman goes to the ground as well, we'll take the 1-for-1 there. But you see the physicality, the mentality, maybe even some friendly fire. I'm not even sure. Did the running back get involved here? Is that Dylan Johnson? Let me go back and see what happened here off that play action. It just kind of got a little messy there off the play fake. But either way, you see the principle, uncovered, go find someone to hit. Finally, the last clip, and maybe one of my favorite plays I've watched of Fautanu already so far. And this one is just having that mentality of we're going to make a play happen. It's instincts, it's awareness, it's athleticism, it's physicality. And these are things you just don't teach. There's no drill really that does these kinds of things. So again, the end drops out. Going to go give help here on that spiking defensive tackle as I pull up the clip here again. Just find somebody to hit and knock him off balance. But that's not, to me, the impressive part. The impressive part is the awareness to then get your head back around as this nose tackle 45 here comes around to the outside, and then 5, who was off ball, not blitzing here initially, starts to rush in. But for Fautanu, okay, hit the D tackle. He's now where the right tackle is at. I'm going to spin my head around, go find some more help, and then have the athleticism, the explosion to close this gap here as the center, I think it is, was having trouble securing the edge here on this nose tackle, and then just get a piece of him. It's not the biggest shot, but it's enough to keep Penix clean. We took a little bit of a bump here. I think the pass is incomplete, but no sack. If Fautanu does not have the awareness and the athleticism to help here, this one probably results in a sack. And so you avoid a super negative play from him. So a really impressive rep, again, helping out on the D tackle. And then just look at that. I mean, look at that speed to pivot, change directions, explode, and then help out as well. Yeah, you could say maybe he should have blocked number 5, but listen, how many guys you want this guy to block on this play? He's blocking 2 of them out there and covering, the hash marks, it feels like. So a really fun rep just to kind of show the instincts, the physicality, and just this guy is always working. I think it's really, really impressive. Even again, I'm gushing a little bit, but just him pivoting and changing directions, the explosion right about here, I think is really impressive. It's some rare movement skills you don't see from a lot of guys, especially to get a guy with that ability at number 20 who's not super raw or unrefined or has some sort of serious issue that would cause him to fall. Really fun tape to watch. So those are my thoughts on Troy Fautanu in pass protection. I think it's really creative. There are some things he has to work on in terms of, his base and probably his punch a little bit. But I think you're getting a guy that, has that crafty veteran ability to win in different ways. Again, as I said earlier, you have to have different ways to mix up your sets, to have different plans of attack, because you're going to face different rushers with different plans, and you can't treat them all equally, and you can't do the same thing every single rep in a game. Eventually, guys will counter and find ways to beat you. You're at the NFL level. This is professional. Jobs and livelihoods are on the line. Guys game plan, they study, and they certainly work at their craft, but it's evident that Fautanu works at his craft as well. So a lot of fun to watch. Again, I still have some questions over left tackle, right tackle. Where does Broderick Jones end up? All that kind of stuff. But focusing primarily, as it should be, on the player, on the talent, on the value. It's really good with Troy Fautanu. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll have more video breakdowns, more article breakdowns on this pick and all the others about to come here. We're on day 2 of the NFL draft. So be sure to like this video. Subscribe to the channel. Check out the site, SteelersDepot.com. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.